Thank you for joining episode 253, actually Duwamish Sown, SonarFeed with Lamar Neagle from the Berliner Pub in Renton. Please clap. Wow. Yeah, I'm not going to fake Hugo anymore with his over the top, but yeah, so. Lamar, thanks for joining us down here today. Appreciate you coming down. We're going to talk about your career, your first stop, your second stop, your third stop, and your fourth stop with the Seattle Sounders.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit of South King County and Pierce County.
Okay.
We'll talk the three different countries that you've called home in your playing career.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going to get to know a lot about Lamar Neagle, who is somebody that we seem to know a lot about. Anyway, I mean, you've been on the team a while now.
Yeah.
I'm Dave Clark, at Better Than, playing the role of the primary host. To my right is this Lamar Neagle.
At Lamar Neagle.
At Lamar Neagle on Twitter. He's got the big blue check next to his name.
Actually, at me.
Yeah.
At me.
That's a first.
And to his right,
Tom Bureau, a.k.a. Bougie Hooley. And
the
to
far
my
right,
and I'm Adam Weigel, a.k.a. Weigel, and I'm just trying to get this freaking audio to work in all of the different places.
he's our technical expert. And to my left, slightly off screen, talking on occasion, is Mark Nesteroff.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Original fan of the year.
He is the original fan of the year. So,
Not really.
how you doing, Adam? Are we live?
No, yeah, okay, keep going.
I thought you were trying.
I'm
were you
just
asking me
making
to
sure
stall?
that the volume on the stream is the same for the volume in our live studio audience.
Awesome.
SonarFeed is recorded for our live studio audience.
One of the reasons why we at SonarFeed reached out to Lamar through the team, well, like 3 days after the trade was announced, was because when we did our SonarFeed FIFA tournament, we raised a little bit of money for Lamar Neagle, enough to actually surprise him, and he didn't know what to do with it at first. So I think it was somewhere around 20 grand total for the Lamar Neagle Foundation at some point, 25 grand total in the 4 years that the tournament went on. Now that you're back in Seattle, are you going to resume some charity efforts, and can we funnel more money your way?
Yeah, absolutely. When I went to D.C., that kind of fell to the back burner. Right when we got there, we found out my wife was pregnant, and so that hit us with obviously being away. But now that I'm back, I'm trying to get back on the horse and figure things out. We already have a few things lined up, possible scholarship at one of the colleges down south. I just met with people from One Generation, and they're another foundation that I might start to kind of help out with and figure some things out with. So definitely have a few things. I have friends that are trying to do some different events and get some different things going as well. So always trying to stay helpful to the community.
If I remember, one of the things that you did that the money went towards was towards a field at the Boys and Girls Club where you played soccer once upon a time.
Yeah. In Federal Way, right by Federal Way High School, the church that I grew up in, St. Vincent, and the Boys and Girls Club is right next door to it. So I used to go to that church. I used to go to that Boys and Girls Club. That was where I first started playing soccer. They didn't have a field. They shared the field with the church, but it was the church's, and now they don't use it. And so they wanted to create their own field, and they did. They have a little small turf field that I still have to kind of figure out where that's going. I saw a sign that was like the home field of Lamar Neagle, so I know they got it. They got it mostly done, but I'm definitely going to try to help them out and make it a little bit kind of more official.
We often ask people when they first get on the show just to start at the beginning, and they always determine that. But I'm going to give you a little bit of direction because
somebody
starts
when they're born.
Yeah.
Once in a while.
Ross Fletcher started at birth. Let's start TJ. And
Okay.
You played soccer for a local legend.
Yeah.
And talk about the experience. Soccer in high school, being recruited, being not recruited, kind of.
Okay. Okay. So I didn't. We had a junior high, so that was 7th, 8th, and 9th. So 9th grade, I could either go up and try out for the high school team, or I could stay below and play for the basketball team. And I was like, gonna be varsity. Knew I was gonna be varsity. So like, I was like, all right, I can't pass up my chance. I was JV last year, so because I wanted to play basketball a lot, and so I stayed while all my friends went and played soccer in ninth grade. They all went up and made the team, and I became the captain of varsity basketball at Kylo, and loved it. And so then the next year, I came in, and started playing. I just met. I went to the Puyallup Fair the other day and ran into Chris Sanders, who was a senior when I was a sophomore, and he was like the man. So looked up to him. He was a forward, scored a ton of goals. We did really well. I can't remember what part of state we lost in, but we definitely could have gone all the way. And then junior year got a little better. Senior year, Darren Sawatsky was the coach the entire time, so he shaped kind of the way my mentality is when I play soccer. I had Wade Weber, Darren Sawatsky, and Ralph Black as coaches growing up. So I was a lucky one that got like these great kind of local legends coaching me and not even realizing it at the time. But I think I took a lot from all of them. I took a lot from Darren, definitely still do. But yeah, the senior year, I think I don't even know what was happening. Every time I shot the ball, that thing went in. I was closing my eyes and hitting the ball and scoring goals. I think I scored like 27. I tied the record for TJ. We won state. I scored one of the goals. I think we won 2-1. I scored a PK. No, it was 1-0. I scored the PK to win the game, I think it was. And it's a cool story. So prom was that night. And all the guys on the team were like, we're not even asking girls to prom because we're not going to prom because we're going to state. It was all kind of planned out early. And so everybody lied. Everybody had backups to prom. So, but anyway,
when we lose, can I take you?
Yeah. But anyway, we ended up winning the game. There were guys and girls in the stands who wore their prom dresses, and they came to the game instead of the prom. And then we drove all the way up to Seattle, and it was at Quest Field at the time. So prom was in Quest. So we all went in our jerseys, our whole team, and everybody came in. And
you're like rolling in a movie, basically.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Winning the championship, coming to prom.
Yeah, it was really cool. So, but yeah, I was playing club for Norpoint out of Northeast Tacoma under Ralph Black, and I wasn't recruited at all. I went to a few tournaments with that team, and some of my teammates got recruited. My best friend was going to UNLV, D1 school, and I didn't get contacted by anybody except like community colleges in the area. I found out later that there was a few teams and coaches that thought I had already committed somewhere, but I don't know where they got that idea from, which was unfortunate, but it worked out. So my best friend was going to UNLV, and I had nowhere to go, and I thought, why not try? Well, he asked the coach if there was any spots, and the coach said he knew of my name, but that there was no more spots. I could come in the fall and try to walk on, and if I did well, then I could get some scholarship money. Eventually. So it was either go to possibly Seattle U and just be a student, because Pete Fewing said no.
Do you give him gruff about that?
Oh, all the time. But he's like, it worked out for you. Like, it's kind of devastating. But so yeah, he was going. I could be a walk-on, and so it was either go to a community college around here or Seattle U, or try to get into another college, or take a chance and go down to Las Vegas. And I took a chance, and I played every single game. I was a second leading scorer that year, freshman year, and the leading scorer was Rod Dychenko, who got drafted that year to DC United. And so that's when I realized that like this was actually a possibility for me. It was my first year in college after not being recruited and all that. I was like, all right, if he made it, I was right behind him. I did pretty good. Like maybe I can make it as well. And that's when like I really focused on soccer. And then that was college. But then
you graduated
4 years later. They didn't invite anybody from our conference to the draft.
Zero.
Wow. I got the most votes from all the coaches in our conference to go, but they didn't invite anybody. And so I was pretty surprised at that, and I was again like, well, I guess I'll figure something out. When I was in college, I got my Irish passport. My mom helped me out with that. She got hers because my grandma's from Ireland. So I got that. So my plan was to go over and live with the family and try out for some teams and see what happens. And if not, then come home. And I got a call from Brian Schmetzer when they were in Ventura, California for the 2009 season preseason. And he said, yeah, if you want to come out, if you can get away for like a week, come train with us and we'll see where it goes.
Was that more of a invite because they needed a body for that phase of training, or did they understand were they telling you at the time you can make this roster? Do you remember?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't talked to Brian about that. I think he had an idea. I would train with them when I was in college. Yeah, whenever I came back. So he knew of me. I knew a lot of the guys. Well, the guys that made the transfer: Zach, Roger, Taylor. And so I don't know if it was like obviously in his plans or anything like that. It had to have been a red flag that I didn't get into the combines. That might have been a red flag for him. But, yeah, he invited me anyway. I went out, and then Ziggy told me, he was like, well, you're graduating in May. Just come home, and that's what you were probably going to do anyway, and we'll see what happens. And so I was like, all right. And I remember going back after training in Ventura and being with my teammates in college, and it was announced that they were going to be playing Chelsea in 2009, and that was my favorite team. And I remember vividly in the dorm talking to one of my best friends that I was like, man, it'd be cool if I made the Sounders and I got to play against Chelsea.
At home.
And then that was my very first game.
That wasn't at right back. The right back experiment was that was a training thing.
Right.
Right?
That's Brett Evans.
That was
in 09
had
training.
Zach Awani and a ton of other guys. He was in my spot, and so like, what was I gonna do? And so I was at right back every single day, just frustrated because this guy was just making it look so easy and running past me. And so I was like, all right, well, and that's when you're, I don't get drafted. I don't go to the combines. I come in as a pro, and then like, I'm playing defense for the first time in my life. And it was very frustrating. So then I got. I was told in preseason, you might not make it, you might not be here. And so then they told me that they were going to hold on to my rights, but I could go somewhere and play. And I asked if they would release my rights so that I could talk to any MLS team if the chance came up, and I could just go and train with them. Because if they hold my rights, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And so they did that. They were very understanding. They did that. I went to Kitsap, Pumas, so I was under Pete for a couple weeks, went to preseason with him, and then Brian Schmetzer gave Mike Anhauser a call at Charleston, and I was able to get a tryout at Charleston. So
Charleston went pretty well for you.
Yeah, Charleston went really well. Kitsap, Puma. So then I was like, well, I got to try to play in the highest league I can. Charleston was USL 2, so I went to Charleston. Then when I tried out for Charleston, they told me I have a spot on the team if I want it. I got in my preseason. I got there and they had a preseason game, and right when I got in, I smacked like a 30-yard goal. Like I crushed it, and I was like, all right, well, that's the first goal. Like I just got in. I'm pretty sure I made this team. But then I got a call from my agent saying that I could go to Austin and try out, and that was USL 1. And so I told the coach, I was like, look, I'm trying to play in the highest league that I can. And so he was like, well, if you leave, there might not be a contract for you when you come back.
Right.
And I had already taken so many chances. I was like, I got to try. I mean, I feel like I can do well in this league, so maybe I should try in USL 1. I went down there, and they like didn't even have a training session. They had a game like in 2 days, and so they didn't even really train. And then the coach, who was Adrian Keith, told me that they needed to sign like a big defender for a lot of money. So like I didn't have a chance, but they'd keep an eye on me. So I went crawling back to Charleston. They gave me a deal for even less money than what I would have got the first time. But I wanted to play. I was with a good group of guys, and then, like you said, it went really well. And that's when I think I got the confidence that, okay, I can actually do this.
Was there a game where you were like, yeah, this is going to work out okay?
I don't remember vividly. I remember the preseason, the goal that I scored, because I remember some of the guys joking. There were other guys on the team like trying to make it or had been on the team. And one of them was like, well, there goes my starting position right after I smashed the goal. So I don't remember a game vividly where I knew, but the entire season was going well. Everything seemed to click. We could go down, and it was on one of those teams where even if we went down a man or went down a goal, we knew that we could come back. We knew we could score goals.
You've been on a few of those squads over the years.
Yeah. There was that year with the Sounders that was ridiculous.
Is this
like a record.
after one of those goals?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found that on the lovely internet.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Black and
good
yellow.
times.
Yeah.
After Charleston, where memory serves, you got an MVP.
Yeah, got the Golden Boot, got MVP of the league. We won the entire league. And, yeah, I had a one-year contract. The Sounders had picked my rights back up halfway through the year because I was doing well. And so the plan was to come back to Seattle after the USL2 season, which is really short. I think it ended in like August or something like that. So I would have come back and just trained with the Sounders until the next year and then gone into preseason with them. But I got a phone call from one of my college teammates who was playing in USL2, but they didn't make the playoffs. So his season ended early, and he went to Finland and signed with a Finnish team. And I got a phone call from him asking if I wanted to come to Finland and play. And there was already a contract for me. It would be a short one just to see how it goes. They were in fear of relegation, and so they wanted a forward. And my old college teammate talked me up, and
You knew one guy there, and
I
said,
knew one guy.
I'll move to Finland.
I'll move to Finland. I'll take another jump. I was jumping anyway. You know, I went from, in Seattle to Charleston to Finland, and I was only there for a few months, only played in a few games, but I scored a couple goals. Thought I did well, but I think that their whole kind of organization was in a little bit of turmoil after the fear of relegation, so I'm not sure. I didn't get a phone call, so I went back to Seattle. But while in Finland, it was really cool. It was on an island in between Finland and Sweden, and so they spoke more Swedish and English and had that kind of culture instead of the Finnish. But all the guys were great. I was the only one on the team that only spoke one language, which was kind of depressing. Even there was two other Americans, and even they spoke French and Italian.
If I remember correctly, that same team picked up Josh Wicks, the DC United keeper.
Yeah, he actually wrote me on Facebook asking me about the team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I said I loved it. I had a great time. I'm not sure what they're going to be like next year, but yeah, I forgot about that.
Because I know that was the. If you don't remember Josh Wicks in 2009 Open Cup final, he stomped on Freddie Montero.
Yeah,
it kind of derailed his MLS career a little bit. But
yeah, I remember that.
He then, I'm like, he's going to Finland. What do I know about Finland? And I'm like, well, that's where Lamar is. So
I thought I was going to be playing on the team with him because I was like, oh, I did well. I scored, a few goals especially in the time that I was given. I was just subbing in, and so yeah, I thought for sure I was going to be going back.
So an 09 Sounder, you win in a 2010 spot, and then 2011, you're looking at kind of stepping up from kind of a fringe player to getting more rotational minutes, getting a nod. You're in preseason, and I think you guys are in Bradenton, right?
Oh, man. I have no idea. There's been so many preseasons, it feels like. Casa
when
Grande,
you
Arizona,
and Mike are pulled aside.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was in Bradenton. Yeah, you're right.
And they're like...
Yeah. So that was after the 2011 season, going into
11.
2012. So preseason for 2012. We're going to a team dinner. Everybody's getting on the bus, and I get a phone call from the team administrator saying that the coaches want to talk to me real quick. I have no idea what's going on. I didn't even think trade until I look in front of me, and Mike Facito is walking towards where the coach's little condo is as well. And I was like, where are you going? And he's like, I got to go talk to the coaches. I was like, me too. And he was like, oh, we're about to get traded. Jokingly. But then after he said that, we both got really quiet and just like kept walking. And then as we got there, the team administrator was outside the door and was like, we want to talk to just one of you at a time. And so Mike went first, and I just sat out on the stairs until
You just
their
have to
meeting
wait.
was done. Yeah. And so I'm looking out, and Mike comes out of the door, and I don't even look at him, and he just walks past me and down the stairs. And then the team administrator's like, all right, Lamar, you can come in. And then it was a quick conversation. I mean, they're like, sorry, it's a business. There's no easy way to say this. You've been traded to Montreal. Is there anything you want to say? I was like, no, not really. I know it's a business. I went through this. I got released the last time. It is what it is. And, I went back to pack my stuff, and I think we flew out that night to Seattle. But I think the team was still waiting on the bus for us. So I heard like Facito came back and was like walking away, and Brad like stepped off the bus and was like, "Where are you going, you idiot?" or something like that. And Facito's like, "I just got traded," and then walked away.
He was
That's
when
pretty-
he relayed that story to us. I think he was still bitter about it.
Facito?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did not enjoy Montreal.
I agree. He was bitter.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Like, we could actually probably go pull the video. I don't think it went well.
I want to watch that.
I don't think I can actually do that right now.
I mean, you could.
I could.
Yeah.
Give me a couple
But
minutes.
you're not gonna.
That's all right.
Yeah. Anyway.
You keep finding your way back to Seattle, though. Are there times when you think, can they just keep me around rather than?
I think with the kind of the lifestyle I've had, it's kind of just one of those things where it's like every year or two, it's like, all right, it's probably time to move now. My wife was the same way. She was all over the place, kind of in college and even high school. She jumped and went to Salt Lake for college, and then was traveling absolutely all the time, was living in different places. And so we both were kind of the same way. And so every time something happens or there's a possibility, she's 100% down. She's like, yeah, let's go. Let's go have an adventure. And so that's kind of been our mentality. We know that this is not going to last that long. And so just enjoy it. I got to, like you said, I got to live in Montreal. I got to live in Finland. I got to live in the capital, the nation's capital. And I get to live at home. So I can't really complain too much.
It doesn't sound like it got more difficult when you got married. Like, for some people, when they're married, moving becomes difficult. But it seems like she was into that.
No, she was into that. And she was, like I said, she was moving around before that. She was changing jobs every couple years, too. She always seems to find a really good job right away, whenever she wants. Really motivated, really smart. She's a registered nurse. And so she would be able to kind of move anywhere she wanted and get a job. Even before we got to D.C., she was getting calls from recruiters for jobs out there.
Dubai Lamar Neagle is going to happen one of these days.
I can hook you up with people from Aspire over in Qatar if you want. When you're just
Yeah,
you
maybe,
know what, I want
why
another
not?
year
Yeah.
or two. And
Yeah, all right, I'm down.
okay.
Yeah.
So come 2013. So I guess it's like January, right?
Yeah.
When you ended up coming back. How at this point? Do you know it's coming? Is it engineered at all, or is it just Sounders want you? They make a move to Montreal to bring you back.
So when I went originally, Ziggy told me that they did not want to let me go. I was coming off the bench and I was scoring goals for them. I was doing really well in 2011. He was like, "This is the only way that we could make this trade for Eddie Johnson." He was like, "If we could do it any other way, we would have done it, but we can't." Jesse Marsh had watched me play, I think, even in Charleston, or had known the name in Charleston. So I was one of the guys with the mentalities that he liked, that he was kind of going after. And so for me, hearing him even mention Charleston so that I was on his radar was like, okay, cool. Like, at least I'm not going somewhere where I'm far on the back burner.
Right.
Like, I'm in this guy's kind of idea of what his team wants to look like. And so that was my mentality. I was like, oh, great. Like, I can go to another team and play a lot more. And that didn't end up happening, which was frustrating for me, and was one of the reasons why I wanted to leave Montreal, was that I wasn't I wasn't getting the minutes that I thought I deserved. I was doing well in training. I was fighting every single day at practice. And so it was one of those things where I wanted to get out as well. And, I mean, like I said, Seattle didn't want to let me go in the first place. And so I ended up back here.
So you're back. It's 2013.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to peek at stats. So you had played about, 20-something matches for the previous couple seasons.
Yeah.
So 2013, 30 appearances regular season, 8 goals.
That's a good year.
Couple other things happening.
Yeah.
Leading scorer.
RSL, San Jose.
Yeah, he was their leading scorer last year.
He was red. He was red hot.
True. He was
Lots of people talking to
Yeah,
you.
so-
Commentary
So
in the
the peanut gallery.
But it is the truth. He was the DC United leading scorer.
We're in 2013
So we're in
right now.
2013. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, that was a great year. I mean, obviously coming back and then scoring in front of our fans that much and kind of having that much success, playing that many games was definitely a kind of a difference maker for me. You have to go about everything a little bit differently when you're starting all the time. So
Yeah.
in 2011, I was able to do appearances like left and right, like 2 a week. I was just killing it. And then in 2013, you have to slow down. You can't really train as hard every single day because you're playing a lot more. So those were just some minor adjustments that I kind of had to go through in 2013, which were, gladly made. But yeah, it was great.
So we get pretty far into 2013, and then all of a sudden there's this rumor that this Clint Dempsey guy is coming to the Sounders. What's that like?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when I first joined in 2009, it was Freddie Lundberg, and that was nuts, and it was unbelievable to be hanging out with these guys every single day. I think I roomed with him when we went to Spain for preseason, and so that was interesting. And at the time, Thierry Henry wasn't in the MLS, but Freddie was like, "Yeah, I just got to take this. It's Thierry real quick." I'm like,
Gotta go.
Trying to listen in on the phone call.
You can use speaker, Freddie. I'm
Yeah,
cool.
no, it's cool. Tell him I said what's up. But yeah, so I've been able to play with a lot of great players. But to play with obviously a player of his caliber and what he means to the U.S. is amazing. I'll definitely be keeping pictures of games when me and him have scored goals and stuff like that. It's definitely something that I can look forward to.
Does he really have a different handshake for everybody?
Yeah, he does. He does. We don't have one yet, but I just got back. It's okay.
Score Wednesday and you'll figure it out.
Get on that on Wednesday.
You assist on Wednesday. And
Yeah. Chad Marshall has a lot of handshakes with people, too. That's one that was, surprising.
Yeah, but he's fucking awesome.
Dad?
He's awesome.
You get to 2013 forward with him.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 2013 you played forward and winger, and that's kind of when that kind of hybrid thing kind of settled in. Earlier you were almost always on the wing with Seattle, right?
Yeah. I think also after I went to Charleston, they kind of knew that I could play forward, even though I was withdrawn forward at Charleston. But I get put in there a couple of games, subbing in, and I score a couple goals, and they know that I have kind of a nose for the goal, so why not try to put me up there? So it ended up working out. I mean, I love playing up top. Playing forward is more fun than playing anywhere else on the field. But I know a lot of times on the Sounders, the best position for me, for the team, would be out wide, where I could work hard and help defend instead of just standing up top and kind of working up there.
In 2013, Eddie, Clint, all that talent, and then it took a little while for everybody to figure out how to play together.
Yeah.
What was that like? Did you guys think this would all figure itself out, or was it stressed?
Yeah, there's a little bit of both. There's obviously stress if you're not performing or things aren't coming off and you don't exactly know why. It's just like, oh, we're off. but you know that eventually with training, with time, you guys will become more comfortable. You guys will start to connect a little bit more, understand each other's runs, understand each other's tendencies, and that's when things flow more smoothly. That's when things look a lot easier.
I mean, in some ways, not that the streaks are similar, but you have a similar amount of talent on the field, maybe even a little bit more kind of spread out all around right now as you had in 2013, and the draws that in some ways that you're dealing with that same thing right now, right? Trying to figure out how to turn talent into performance.
Yeah, I think it's always frustrating when you do have that much talent and the results aren't coming in. And that's one thing that guys can start to get their heads down or start to get pissed because they know that they're better than what we're doing. And then, anything could happen. You start pointing fingers at guys. But I think the coaching staff has a good handle on everything. They're, obviously reinforcing that we're a good team. The results will come. And the guys know that too. I mean, they won a championship together last year. The team isn't that different from last year. The core is pretty much the same. And so those guys have it in them, obviously, to win a championship.
So you've been on a couple of decent teams. So 2014. Obafemi
Yes.
Martins, 17 goals. Clint Dempsey, 15 goals. You with 9.
9 and 9.
Yeah.
Chad Barrett with 7, and the list just keeps going. Can you talk? You're talking about our current team. Can you talk about that team and this one, and just the kind of makeup across the board? Like, how does that feel? Does it feel similar?
Yeah, it feels similar. I just right now we're not scoring goals like that. Obviously, guys don't have that amount of numbers, but. Then it just seemed like anybody who stepped on the field was gonna score a goal and could. And we definitely have that this year. That's not like anything has changed. I mean, Will Bruin can score. Jordan Morris, obviously. Clint Dempsey. Everybody can get goals. It's just one of those things where, like we were saying, it's not happening right now. But that's not to say that we can't win a game 1-0. In 2014, we were scoring multiple.
No, that was
goals.
a lot of 3-2 games.
yeah, those were the exciting ones. We joked that we just like to make it exciting. We'd go down and then come back, but I don't know. It was just one of those things where everybody was getting goals. Obviously, I haven't been on this team that long, so I'm still trying to figure out kind of my role. I get 10 or 20 minutes here and there, and so that's it's frustrating because it's going to take me even longer to kind of find my place with the guys on the field. But, I think, like I said, we still have it in us to make a run. You get hot right now and take it into the playoffs, and it's a wrap.
That 2014 team was kind of a run and gun thing.
Yeah.
When you talk about UNLV, like
yeah,
that Sounders
So
team
running
played
rails.
soccer kind of like UNLV used to play
Sounders.
basketball. Just
yeah.
Go,
We were
go.
going all in. That was fun.
as we recap your career, DC United was kind of not a run and gun. You guys kind of slowed it down.
No, we definitely tried to slow it down. I think it was frustrating because there were different styles that we were thinking. Guys might have been confused, about what we were trying to do. I had a rough year up until the end when I just kept on getting subbed in and kept on scoring. And so my stats look good, but I still think it was a frustrating year for me at DC United the first year.
But your stats look good.
Stats look good, yeah. Looks good on paper.
I think you had 9 goals
Yeah, 9
last
goals.
year. And then this year they made a few changes. Your role was less from the outside, it looked like your role was less clearly defined in the early season.
Yeah, so going into preseason this year, obviously being the leading scorer, thinking, all right, I don't want to be the guy coming off the bench all the time. I'll fight for a starting spot. But that didn't happen, so I was still the guy coming off the bench the entire year. And so that was frustrating. And goals weren't going down for anybody. That's one of those things where there's 4 or 5 of us that could be standing in front of the goal on the 6 and we'd miss. And it's just a frustrating thing for that to be happening, but it happens. Teams go through slumps. Now they're doing well better. So, yeah.
You were there for one of the victories over Atlanta. David Olson kind of had, or not David Olson, Ben Olson has Atlanta's number. He's the only coach to beat them 3 times.
Yeah, it was
what's
one of
going
those
on with
things
that?
where we just match up well with the team. I mean, when we went there the first time, they were all over. The first 5 minutes, they were all over us. They had like 3 clear-cut chances. And then I can't remember if I crossed it and there was an own goal, but I can't remember if that was the first goal or the second
We'll call
goal.
it your goal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I scored. And, yeah, it was one of those things where they could not score against us. We kind of packed it in a little bit, obviously, whenever we would get a goal. And, yeah, we had their number this year.
What was the experience like at Bobby Dowd College Football Stadium? But they packed it.
That was amazing. Yeah, it was really cool. They packed that thing. The fans were going nuts. It was good to see that somewhere else other than Seattle, for them to have good fans somewhere. But then after the game, there was like a concert going. They had like a DJ up there, and yeah, it was really cool. But now the new stadium, I can't wait to see that.
Maybe December 9th or so.
Hey, that's fine with me.
Would you be okay with that?
Yeah,
You'd be
that's
like-
cool.
I'd be okay because I don't want to go to Toronto.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
There's direct flights from here to Atlanta, so pick your airline.
No
You can
10-hour
get there.
layovers in
Do
Denver.
not take Frontier through Denver, Adam.
Oh my gosh,
That's why nobody takes
Adam
bad, huh?
had a
10-hour
long
layover in Denver there.
A
And
number
back.
of people are. How
And
many
back.
people here?
Yes.
Yeah. How many people here
Emily
went to
was with
MLS
there.
Cup last year?
I wish I could.
That's
So a decent amount.
About half the group.
People
Nice.
took like 19 different ways to get there.
Yeah.
Boston, and then drove.
Yeah, people
Drove.
flew up to New York,
flew to Buffalo
up to
and drove.
Boston. Yeah,
Flew
up
to
to Maine, like all sorts of things.
Detroit and
Yeah.
drove.
Detroit and drove.
Because
Did
you can get
that.
nonstop here to Detroit pretty easy. Yeah.
Man.
Good times.
People
little
traveled
chilly.
a little
Hey,
bit to support
makes
the
for a
team.
better story, right?
Stuck coming back. Everybody
Stuck.
No.
I didn't get stuck.
Okay, you didn't get stuck.
I mean,
With-
I was technically at an airport again for 10 hours, but
You
that
get the
wasn't
opportunity
stuck.
to come back to Seattle. When that starts to percolate between your agent or the organizations, what goes through your mind when you're like,
It was
it like
it was like
again?
again. It was like it was
Just
honestly
to be
like
fair,
I could,
that's actually what I said literally on the show.
yeah.
No
I
offense
mean, that's-
for real. It was just, oh, okay.
Yeah, again. So it was like starting to happen, and I was like thinking. Honestly, I was thinking this is gonna look really weird. Like I was trying to look up how many times somebody's been traded to the same or signed with the same team. I didn't even get an answer, but I'm pretty sure that I have to have that has to be a record. I thought 3 was probably a record.
It's rare one thing if a player comes back. Otherwise, it's rare if he comes back.
So,
Yeah, unheard of.
so how did this go down this time?
Well, so I was when the trade window opened, DC was trying to find DPs, new guys. Obviously,
Yeah.
we were doing horribly, so they were trying to find something to happen. And I didn't think that I was going to be one of the guys. I expressed interest in leaving just because I knew if they were finding new guys, I was going to be even further on the list. So I wasn't even going to be playing. So I was asking, and then all of a sudden, right towards the end, it was like, all right, something needs to happen quick. We got to figure it out. We know Seattle was asking about you earlier in the year. And so that was like one of the main options. But I knew if I came to Seattle, I was thinking, Seattle wants me back. Like, they have an amazing team. Like, what am I going to do for these guys? And, yeah, I get a call.
The answer is what you've been doing.
Yeah, well,
Really,
yeah,
though.
that's exactly what it was. I get a call from Brian and had an amazing conversation with him. He was very straightforward. He told me what he expected of me and what he knew that I would do if I came back. and kind of that was that. It had to happen so quick for DC that like Seattle was the place that wanted me. Brian was ready. I mean, honestly, I only have 3 more months on my contract, and so to pick me up just for the 3 months, I was wondering what was like, what are you guys gonna do? And so, yeah.
So you've
Yeah, I know.
they you're about to be a free agent,
Yeah.
a real free agent, which in MLS is like there's about like 20
Yeah.
of them or so that have had that happen so
That are
far.
able to, yeah.
What's it feel like to go from the undrafted guy that nobody invited to the MLS Combine to now the entire league can bid for your services? I'd prefer only one team to do it, but
Make it easy.
well, for your sake, maybe I want multiple teams to do it because it's
Yeah.
good. It's better for you and your family.
Well, so the free agency thing is a funny thing in this league. Obviously, it's the first step that the players' union has been able to take in that direction, and it's not your average free agency as in the other leagues in the U.S. where I can say, hey, I want $1 million, and who's gonna come in? This is very different. There's a pretty small percentage of increase in salary that I can ask for, and I ask for that salary, and whichever team, whoever, if there's multiple teams, they can all put their hat in, and then I get to choose from that. And so it's not exactly a free agency in the sense that teams can like keep bidding and bid me up, and then I can just go with the highest bidder or go wherever I want to go, or so it's a little bit different, and it's a little bit kind of scary going into that. Because like, I don't really know if the team's gonna put their hats in, but I've been pleasantly surprised before.
Well, you played on a few of them already, and
Yeah.
you mentioned Adrian Heath at one point wanted you.
Yeah,
He's a
I know
head
that-
coach now. You've got
Yeah.
Marsh might wind up a head coach.
Yeah,
There are lots of guys out there who know who Lamar Neagle is.
that's what I keep telling myself. But there's always the doubt in sports, and so I don't know. We'll just kind of see what happens. So right now, I'm trying not to think too far ahead. I'm trying to enjoy being home, trying to enjoy
a
my
minimum
family.
of 3 home games.
Yeah.
Only one more road game.
Gosh. Yeah.
It's kind of the height of the pressure.
This is it.
Does that, like, how do you get up for that? Like, what do you just wake up and
Yeah. I
gotta
don't
do it again?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you have to. When it gets to this time in the season, it's funny because every single game you can get the same amount of points. The same pressure should be on you throughout the entire season from the first game to the last game. But obviously, when it comes down to it now, results are necessary. And especially, I wasn't even like paying attention to the Western Conference until I got on the Sounders. But this conference is crazy, how close everything is. It's ridiculous. And so looking at it, a couple games can mean, 2 games can mean the difference of playoffs and not playoffs. 1 game can mean the difference between playoffs and not playoffs. And so now the pressure is on.
I want to rewind just a little bit. Your first game back, and you find out, coaches pull you over, you're taking off the training top, and you're getting ready to enter again at CenturyLink Field.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of that sound from what it was like from our side of things.
We're going to try this and see how it works.
We're going to stretch the technical.
Here we go.
abilities.
Hey, awesome.
Oh, I might have sent you the wrong one.
Send me the wrong one, Dave.
Well, I didn't get to listen to
You broke it.
It's okay. So this is Fight and Win.
This is a
cheer
good one,
along.
too. This is great.
It's just nice ambient audio.
Yeah. Well, even before that,
Listen to that for a while.
Yeah, 30 seconds or so. It also might loop.
We could just come back out of that.
We'll skip the sound.
If you send it to
Good
me,
job,
we can
Dave.
try it again.
Whoa.
I don't think there's anything wrong with trying it again. I wouldn't mind.
We might get to it here in a little bit.
Yeah.
well, even before that, this can be a little interim
Sure.
thing. When I came back and I was on DC, I wasn't sure. I mean, I knew everybody liked me, but I didn't know what kind of reception I was going to get. But I just have to say that was unbelievable and unexpected. The cheers that I got, obviously for me, it was a little bit weird because it was in a game where it was the biggest comeback in MLS history, and I was on the wrong side of it.
A weird game.
It's a great game for you guys. I'm happy for you.
And by you mean us.
Yeah, us. I'm happy for you.
Us now.
Now, you. Past tense. Yeah, so my mind was obviously in a different area, but to just afterwards appreciate the reception I got. And obviously I was always going to go over to the fans and say hello. And, I didn't know, especially at that time, I didn't know if I would ever play, at CenturyLink again.
This fan base has been pretty good to returning players, whether it was Steve, yourself, or coaches when Siggy came back.
Yeah, that was awesome too. Yeah,
the applause and he returned it when he was walking across the field. Which
we're ready now, Dave. Do you want to try it again?
Yeah. So let's rewind a little bit. So Lamar is reacquired by the Seattle Sounders. It's the third reacquired, and just a couple days later, he plays. Gets the notification from the coaches, and is coming on for Jordan Morris.
Jordan Morris.
Jason has Jordan Morris.
Replaced by number 27, Lamar.
It's a little bit louder.
A little bit louder.
People chant.
Yeah.
How does that? What goes through? Do you hear that? Do you feel that?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, even listening to it now, I still get chills whenever I hear that, and I know. I mean, that's something that'll be cool to have when I'm done. That's
Dave could just email it to you.
Yeah,
now that I figured out how to
second one, not the first one.
Get the one that's actually
Yeah.
We know James Willard. We could actually just have him come over to your house. Now entering for French toast, Lamar Neagle.
That's like one of those Sounders Alexa commercials.
That's a really good idea.
Just James World walking.
We're gonna derail the show right now. Anyway, Dave.
No, but there are different moments in my career that I'll always remember. I'll always remember coming out for Chelsea that first time. I'll always remember scoring that hat trick against Columbus and hearing the fans chant my name. And I mean, I'll always remember coming back for this sports stint. Honestly, it was something weird because I came back a third time. It was like, all right, that's probably the end. But then to come back after not really believing at all that I would ever play for the Sounders again, play for my hometown again, for me when I was first on the Sounders and second time, thinking, oh man, I see. It's a weird thing that this is big for me, but I see players with their kids on the field and holding their kids after games and getting pictures of their kids in their jersey on the field, and thinking I won't have that at CenturyLink, but now to be able to do that with my son and have that kind of up in his room is something that I'll definitely remember and appreciate.
That gives you you have that opportunity now. That's incredible. I know. I see Roman.
Yeah, everybody, man.
I'm only
Kids are
going to
so
practice
cute.
every other week now.
Yeah.
But somehow his kid's there always.
Yeah.
And the last practice I was at, Nico's
out on the field
there.
kicking the ball with
yeah.
him. Yeah.
The team really believes in having the family be part of the team and giving your kids and your significant others access and none of the players I don't think have had their kids in the academy yet. A lot of them have played for Pac Northwest or East Side and that kind of thing. So, are you going to do
I'm
that?
not putting that pressure on that.
No.
Kid. Yeah.
Not gonna have a
I'm gonna
second
teach him
generation?
golf. Yeah, he's playing forever.
You can hire Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's already kicking a ball. He's 10 months. He started walking at 9 months, and he'll kick it down the hall, which is kind of crazy. He did it the first time, and I was like yelling. I was like, "What are you doing?"
That's fast.
Yeah, and so it's cool. It's something that I look forward to. I commented. Eddie Johnson just posted a video of his son Eli playing, and I was like, "Man, that's awesome! I can't wait to just I don't know, see my kid grow and see his interests and kind of support him like Eddie's doing." And so it was really cool.
The elders of us probably feel that way about some of the players because we've watched. I mean, you were 22.
Yeah.
In that,
I do that
first year.
I do that now.
Looking back,
yeah.
You're
See
like,
Christian and Kovar and even Jordan. I saw. I knew him when he was in the academy and stuff. And so Wingo. Yeah, I see. So even me, like seeing all these guys now playing and doing really well and just having the potential to be like really good players if they're not already. I mean, obviously.
I used to, like, when I was going to practices all the time, and I'd make the mistake of requesting to talk to Lamar, I'd have to stay like 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes late. You put in the work.
Yeah.
Who are you seeing of the youngsters that does that now, that just puts in that work where you're like, if they don't make it, it won't be because of effort. It'll be something else.
Yeah, I think a lot of them. I think the practices are a lot more kind of structured now. I mean, as the league's grown, as kind of the mentality has changed, they're a lot more structured, and the statistics and stuff that they're pulling, the trainers are pulling from
they don't
heart
want you to
rate.
stay
And, yeah, exactly. They have the load that they want you to do for the day, and you can go kind of a little bit above it, but they would have been kicking me off the field. Well, they were kicking me off the field back then, but now they have.
That was only for my sake.
Yeah, they have heart rate, GPS. They got the drones flying over to watch the practices, and so I think that's kind of a lot more structured. So guys are able to kind of request if they want to do stuff afterwards, and so then it's a drill. It isn't just me and James Riley.
Yeah,
passing
James
a
was
ball,
the other
or
one.
Zach Scott, passing a ball, or me shooting on my own afterwards. It's
Kovar's
more.
got a little bit of that attitude, though, right?
Yeah, that guy loves soccer. He's like
lives and
breathes, and so much potential. That's one guy that's going to do really well when he finally gets.
Totally going to derail it for a little bit, but he came to the last SonarFeed FIFA tournament that we had.
Yeah,
we had about 10 players here for that when you dialed in long distance for it. He played in the competitive games, put Chad Marshall at forward,
And it was wonderful.
and put himself at left mid,
yeah.
and just served up
Just
crosses
crossed.
to Chad all day.
So they do after training anyway. That's the same thing. Yeah. Chad Marshall could have been a forward, but I mean he's a legendary center back. But he could have been a forward. That guy scores so many goals.
We have a question.
We got some.
Do you think you will eclipse Chad Marshall's goal record this year, or goal tally?
I don't even know.
I think this year, how many does he have? He has one?
Oh, there it is.
He's already done
there
it.
it is.
That was last year when he had
Chad.
3 and
We
was
had-
tied
We
for
had a
forced
show
it.
the night of
scored
the
a bunch of-
eclipse, and anytime someone said eclipse, all of a
Roll
sudden this
across.
would happen.
I got a little excited
And we
about
didn't
it.
know, and then we were like watching the live stream, and there's just a moon.
Let's see. We've got Tom and I have some things that we want to hit, but let's take a little detour. Let's give the crowd.
Before we
ask
give
them
the
some-
crowd,
oh,
I just
wait.
want to say that James Willard has chimed in. He seems to be okay with the idea.
He's been
of following. Yeah, he's watching.
Now eating French
toast for
Now eating French toast for breakfast. James is going to kill me next time. Number
So much
27.
better when he says it.
Do your fake British accent like his.
I can only do it accidentally.
I can do it.
All right, Dave. Did you want? Where did you want to go?
So let's let's open it up for some questions really quick, and then from the crowd, both online and here locally, we're going to address a topic that is with the intersection of sports and politics when we get done with that. And then we have some SonarFeed questions for you where we're going to go rapid fire and learn a lot about who Lamar Neagle is as a person. That's the biggest test of the night.
They're all about breakfast foods.
They're about and tacos, music. So cool. We've had a lot of people with questions and right there. Hit me. What do you got?
TD Rad. Yep. Wade. So anyway, what's it like to play with Lucho?
With Lucho? Lucho was a great player. It took him a little.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, he's a great player. It took him a little time, I think, to adjust to the league. Obviously, the leagues are different, but definitely coming into his own. A great player. It obviously took some time for us to click. When you have a player like that likes to dribble and hold on to the ball, sometimes runs are held up or not made after a little while, but you always had to be ready. The guy, when people pull
Would he
crazy
surprise
stuff,
you with his passes?
Yeah, when people pull crazy stuff off in games, I always wonder, like, he must do some really crazy stuff in practice. And it was the exact same thing.
Watch him still?
Do you still watch? Lucho is a DC United midfielder, forward, everything with the ball.
Yeah. So I still do check up on the guys, and I'll text them after games and stuff. I text Pat Mullins after the last game because he did amazing, and we used to live in the same building. We were pretty close, so just great to see. Off topic.
No, it's all good.
Him get injured after having a great last year when he came over and like changing the team dynamic and us starting to do well. Had a run at the end of the year, and then the beginning of the year like getting injured and then struggling, and now just hopefully balling.
We got it.
Well, have you watched the last match?
We got a question over here from Twitter, I believe. Tom,
Yes,
you have one?
we have a Twitter question. The question is, can someone? I'm just going to read it. It's easier. Can someone ask Lamar if he's good at math? Because I'm high key struggling with quadratic optimization. This is from our friend Brett.
High key.
You've likely
Again.
seen
She's-
Brad once or twice.
She makes the two polls, all of them.
She literally at the championship ceremony, the host was like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "I'm Bread." And he goes, "What do you do?" And she goes, "I make 2 pulls." And so that's kind of her
And
thing.
she's
The
17.
roll dam
Here's
is the
trying to
one
get
that you've
into
seen.
Stanford.
She couldn't make it tonight, so somebody brought.
She's here.
Brad.
We've got some bread here.
So how are you with
us.
quadratic optimization?
There
And
it
when was the
is.
last time you heard that phrase?
Just say road.
I've never.
Yeah.
I was a
It's not big at UNLV?
English guy. No, not math.
Susie Rance has a question. What was your favorite goal that you scored at RSL?
My first one. Yeah, that was easy, man.
Is that like one of your just favorites?
Yeah,
just
one of my
overall?
favorites. So at the time, my wife, we were just dating at the time, she lived in Salt Lake, and so I was kind of trying to date her, and so she lived in Salt Lake, and
Low key or high key?
High key.
very
Dave?
low key. And so like I would always, whenever we went there, I'd be meeting up with her left and right. And so the night before the game, we were just talking in the lobby downstairs, and it was like 10 o'clock, getting to like 11 o'clock. We got a game the next day at like 7 p.m. So I'm thinking, I'll be all right. Like, nobody will care. In walks Brian and Tommy Dutra. And I'm thinking, all right, this probably, like, I probably shouldn't be down here. And that was exactly what happened. Brian Schmetzer was not happy. Tommy Dutra was like, no, it's okay. But Brian was not happy at all. And I was like, oh, that's devastating. I haven't been playing that much. Like, I don't even know if I'll get in now. And then I scored my very first goal. And he came to me in the locker room after the game and was like, if you wouldn't have scored tonight, I was going to rip you apart. But we ended up winning that game. It was a game-winning goal.
You did not make out with the corner flag like Mario Martinez did, right?
No.
You should have been
Was
like,
that a
or,
celebration? Like when you saw that, were you like,
right?
That wasn't part of it. No.
Or
I
I
was
can
not
hang
thinking
out
that
in the
that was an
lobby
option.
as long as I want.
Yeah.
So funny.
Just the next game, sitting down there waiting for
Funny story on Schmetzer in the hotel lobby. So we were in San Jose I feel like it's 2014. And Marco Papa is just chilling. It's like 3 p.m. He's just hanging out with a giant bottle of water. And Schmetzer walks by, and he sees a couple of us at the bar, and we wave, and he waves back, and then walks away. And then he stops, and it was like in a movie where someone has that moment, and they stop and kind of look around, like they know the person watching the movie is paying attention. And he turns around and walks back to us and goes, "Does Marco not think that I see him sitting in the bar right now?" And we're like, "We don't know." And he's like, "See you later." Because he's that guy.
That's funny. Yeah.
So can we let's talk quick about that. I know we have some other questions, but when you last were here, Ziggy was coach, and you obviously know Brian a number of times. You've come back, and now Brian's coach. Can you talk a little bit about what playing for the Sounders under Brian versus Ziggy is different, or the same, or anything?
Yeah, they have a lot of the same, kind of the same ideas. I think just because obviously them coaching together so long, obviously some ideas that were Brian's, Ziggy's going to do, some ideas that Ziggy, they had a relationship for a very long time, coached together, and so some things are the same, but some things are definitely different. The structure of trainings are different, are very different. Obviously, it's hard for me to kind of differentiate because the players on the team make the dynamic of training and
Right.
coaching as well. So it's a little bit different. There's a lot different dynamic of players now than when I was on the team the last time, and so that's very different. Obviously, there's different assistant coaches with Jimmy and Gonzo there, which is, and by the way, it's just weird, like because I played with both of the assistant coaches and like Josh Ford's and
they were your buddy
coaches in the
at
academy.
now.
Yeah, and so like it's kind of like, all right, yeah, I'm the old guy.
You and Josh Ford and DeAndre used to do like fashion show Twitter at times.
Yeah.
Oh, the Slummy Show.
Yeah, we like to dress up.
Are we gonna
Me,
see that
not so
again?
much anymore. Josh still dresses to the nines. Yeah,
Does he?
Josh is still fresh.
Hanging out with the kids?
I'm sure DeAndre's still fresh too somewhere, but me, not so much. Just casual.
Because, as we said, you're adult
I didn't
Lamar
want to say it,
now.
but
like,
yeah. No, like, it's over.
It's funny thinking
He
of him
looks
dressing
good.
like that because like he's the academy coach.
Yeah.
And
Oh, he comes in. Yeah, he's just there so early, and so then he's in his coaching staff, and then he leaves later than everybody because he's there all day working his butt off, and so you rarely see him dressed up. But then you do, and you're like, oh yeah, Josh dresses up. Josh looks good.
Go ahead. You got one?
Yeah, we've got a question. I think it's from a Brad Evans.
Oh no.
It's not so much a question as much as it is a statement.
Brad says, "I just turned it off after he said, I mean, I knew everybody liked me. I mean, what an ego he has."
Brad's always chiming in whenever anybody does this kind of stuff. He's
Doesn't he have
everywhere.
something better to do than
He's
watch
everywhere.
this?
Yeah. He's everywhere.
I think we actually know how frustrated Brad
He's
is
petting
with his
his
injury
dog.
because this is the first evidence we have that he's on a SonarFeed episode.
Yeah. You got to get him
We
on.
have a
Yeah.
seat for you. We have a seat
Come
for
on
you,
over,
Brad.
Brad.
Come on in.
Brad's in
Yeah.
week 8 right now.
We'll keep the show running if you can get down
Sorry,
there.
Brad. I'm going to talk to Alex and Matt about you now.
Lisa,
He just volunteered.
who's hiding over there in the corner.
Lisa has a question.
She says, would you rather, and you're rocking an M's hat tonight, so would you rather throw out the first pitch at a Mariners game or raise the 12th man flag?
Oh.
He was winning. He was the champion.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, 12th man flag.
That
Yeah.
roar.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's an exciting atmosphere. It's very different from the Sounders, which was kind of weird whenever I would go to a game and watch somebody else playing on the field, but then just the fan makeup and demographic is kind of funny to see. But I'd like to do that. I'd like to throw out a first pitch for the Mariners. I was there when DeAndre did. I was his warm-up. I was like warming him up. I was behind, in the hall warming him up while he went out and did the pitch. I threw out the first pitch for Rainiers.
The Rainiers,
down in Tacoma. So I got Tacoma. I don't need.
Hell
Slight
yeah.
aside, as a 253 guy that has a lot of Pierce County connections, when you hear that S2 is probably going to move there in a couple of years, are you stoked? Like
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so exciting for them. I mean, for S2 to then obviously kind of branch out on its own and become even bigger, but also for fans down south where it's like tough to get up to Seattle. When I was growing up, I never came up to Seattle really. My family didn't really try. We would go to Tacoma. That's where all my family was. So it was kind of featherweight Tacoma. We went to Seattle a handful of times for special occasions, a game here or there. But to have their own team down there would be awesome. I mean, they had the game. They tried a game down there in Cheney Stadium.
I was just looking at
game.
that when the reserves played that
down there.
cross-functional against Orlando City, and I looked at Dom Dwyer. I was just
was
looking
it?
at this. Dom was with Orlando City at the time. Shaw Ree played in that game with the reserves.
Yeah.
And
it was not a good game for the reserves.
No, it wasn't a good game. Jordan was on the bench.
Was he?
He was with the academy at the time.
Yeah.
I believe Steve started as well.
Really?
Like, I was looking over the roster because there was an argument about, like, the best player to have played in USL as a developmental league that then went on to MLS. And I'm like, well, probably Shalry Joseph, just because, like, the man might get, like, if there was a defensive midfielder of the year award.
Yeah.
I mean, he was third in MVP voting and has, like, 4 or 5
That guy
best
was
11s.
pretty good.
Yeah.
We don't. The Seattle fan base doesn't know Shalry.
No, but
as
there was
Shalry
one
should be
game
known
that
in MLS
literally
soccer.
ended positivity about him.
His time with New England.
One start
Yeah.
ruined Seattle's concept of his career,
Yeah, with the forward.
which was really a great career.
Wait, what happened?
He started at forward against Portland.
Oh, yeah.
Which was the weirdest thing. We had both.
There were a bunch of injuries.
Yeah, he was,
Yeah, there were a bunch of injuries, and so he was supposed to be the withdrawn forward.
Yeah.
And
I remember
practice
that now.
went well with him in that position,
Yeah.
but the game,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great guy. Yeah, completely, under the radar for Seattle. I mean, obviously
But
for New England,
for the
man
league, though,
in New England. And, the run that they had while he was there and while he was the man there.
he's
a
doing
great
color
guy.
on
Is he?
Revs Radio now.
Yeah.
I do a lot, like Saturdays when I'm supposed to be doing work around the house.
Yeah.
And you guys aren't playing. I'll pick up the radio stream on my Alexa
Yeah.
while I'm doing the housework so that I can at least know what's going on around the league.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait,
That's
that's
cool.
Shalry Joseph. So it's really funny because every color guy on any broadcast of any sport is basically a former player.
Yeah.
And so listening to the league, it's like, okay, I remember when he
Yeah, I
played.
remember him. Yeah.
Except that Facebook feed that I watched last week. It was like two random people
The
they grabbed
Univision?
out of the stadium that just wanted to talk about the fireworks pre-show or something. But anyway, yeah, it happened.
It wasn't. There were a lot of FS1, FS2 games, so they didn't have a lot of depth that week.
It's like FS8
Yeah.
announcers.
for the Facebook English feed. Because,
That's the
let's see.
Canada
We've got
have,
about 21 minutes left, and one of the things that I just wanted to touch on a little bit is before we go back to having a lot of fun, we'll just take a.
Let's not call this politics because it's not.
We're going to take a little detour.
Yeah.
Megan Rapinoe, Sid LaRue, Becky Sauerbrunn, and several other players for both the Seattle Reign and FCKC didn't take the field for the anthem. The Seattle Seahawks didn't take the field for the anthem. All of that was renewed or sparked from the previous protests when the president made his comments. Have you considered taking a knee or another symbol of protest yourself at any point over the last year or so that this has come up?
I mean, I've thought about it, but I think if I was going to be comfortable doing that, I think I would do it. I would speak to the team and make sure my teammates are cool with it, and then see if we could do something together. I think I would go that route, but we haven't talked about it. I'm sure we will. It's one of those things where it's funny. I mean, the politics of it is crazy. Obviously, a bunch of athletes are jumping in now that Trump has said a bunch of stuff, and the dynamic is weird. The wording and the language that people are using is very, I think, confusing, because for some people the flag means something. For other people, the flag means something else. It's not about the flag. It's about our first right. It's just there's so many different issues that are popping up. You have to, if you're going to do this and make a stand, you have to make sure that you make it clear what you're standing and what you're protesting or who you're supporting. And so in order to do that, I think it would be best if we did it as a team, if we talked about it and if that all happened.
And doing it as a team is a little bit more complicated than the Seahawks, where 99% of them are American citizens. Your teammates are scattered around the world.
Yeah, well, even like American citizens, but also on a lot of these teams racially are African American, and the Sounders, African American players. There's not many of us on the team, and so for it to be an issue that everybody will get behind and will definitely stand behind and support, and so like you said, it's very international. There's a lot of foreign players, so it may be tough to do this. We obviously would have to bring people up to light on the issues that are at hand and why we would be doing this, and then see if they would be considering, which is tough for a foreign player to come in, a guy who just came, like Victor, that just came here, and then all this kind of turmoil and things that aren't really, a part of soccer, where he came to just play. Now he's a part of a bigger picture about this country and its history and the politics, which are crazy right now. So it's difficult. I mean, it's even difficult to get foreign players to kind of join in with the players union because of, they just got here. Yeah. What do they know about the league? And so it takes a group effort and a very strong effort to kind of bring them up to light, and then a very strong leap and understanding for them to actually commit.
With obviously Michael Bennett, Lane, Baldwin, they've all done different aspects of protests, and they've all used it to speak towards racial inequality, police brutality, social justice. As a native of Puget Sound, not a professional athlete, what's it mean to you to have these leaders in the sports community speaking out like that?
It's unbelievable. The Seahawks obviously are one of those teams where guys are very intelligent, and very strong of will, strong of character, and very, very courageous. And it's great to have a team, especially the Seahawks, with so much media around them, and like you said, a following of kids that are seeing these people stand up for what they believe in, and to bring issue to things that are kind of swept under the rug and not talked about, which is I think the first thing that needs to happen, which obviously is because of this, is the conversation. We're having it right now. We've I've talked to you guys tons of times, and this has never popped up, and so just having these types of conversations, I think, are obviously the first step.
I know one of the things that Doug does is right here in Renton. Like, he's building a youth center and, like, trying to get kids hope and opportunity and that little bit of joy. And he's working towards that. Like, you have done the same. Like, you went to Boys and Girls Club because your mom was working and you needed something to do after school.
Yeah.
That gave you a little bit of hope and a little bit of joy, and those first times with the ball at your feet, and that went somewhere for you.
Yeah.
That's obviously something that you've tried to continue as a professional when you went from 2009, where the stories were that you lived at home and you were a banker and a mover and a soccer player.
Yeah.
And now you can spread a little bit of hope and out there. Is that, I mean, do you look up to the Seahawks? Obviously, you don't have the same influence that a Doug Baldwin does. They get 90% of TVs are on a Seahawks game. But is that something that you look to continue?
But I honestly think that makes him even more courageous to have that much light on him and be willing to put his character on the line, because there are people who don't agree with him. There are people who probably hate him for saying what he's saying. And, you know, I commend him. I think that's completely courageous. Like you said, I'm a huge supporter of youth activities and education now, which I think is more important for us to kind of shine a light on than ever. An issue that, it's funny because this thing about sports and the national anthem pops up, but there are a bunch of other issues that are going on in politics right now that are you know, equally important to our future, that are kind of getting swept under the rug. And I think that's a little bit frustrating for me when I don't know, the wording of the president kind of makes his wording kind of the main issue, rather than, I don't know. It's a frustrating thing where things like the health reform and the new tax bill and Betsy DeVoe and the education and the things that she's doing with education, it's very frustrating that these things are going on as well, and hopefully we get around to them as well. That's what I'm saying.
You got to pay attention to everything all at once.
Yeah,
basically.
and I think you have to I think different people kind of have to champion different ideas, and that's why when I started my foundation, it was like, well, I can have my hand in this and this and this, and then I really needed to focus on kind of one thing, and that was like after-school programs for kids. And now I think I kind of want to get into education. After having a son, I kind of want to get into education and trying to help out in that area in this community where my son is going to grow up.
Sid LaRue said that the reason she didn't participate in the anthem was because she has a son now.
Yeah.
Last year, she didn't, and so it wasn't something that she considered.
Yeah.
And this year, she does, and it changed her entire approach to that issue.
Yeah, it changes your outlook on life to, you know, this could be a moment when my son asked me what I did. Did I stand up? Did I kneel? Did I, you know, stay in? Did I voice my opinions? And that's something that I've fought with, obviously, over the last few months.
Appreciate it. We talked that we let you know we were gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
I think it would have been like if you were here last week, it might have been a 30-second conversation rather than an 8-minute, 10-minute one. But obviously, over the weekend, things got.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just crazy that a couple tweets can escalate it to where, you know, LeBron James is calling out the president, and then I think, just like Steph Curry said, for somebody of his caliber and what he has to lose, for him to say something that really opens up the door for everybody.
And Pop and Steve Kerr,
like
the coaches in the NBA are getting involved as well. It's
even owners in the NFL.
Jerry Jones today.
I think everyone was genuine shocked that the NFL actually made a statement.
Roger Goodell.
I thought they would make a tepid statement. That was pretty serious.
And I know the Players Union, MLS Players Union, put out a formal statement.
They just came out with one
today, very similar to the NFLPA.
Yeah.
So it might be a different set of midweek games and an experience for fans over the next week.
Matt Oak earlier today said he was pretty sure that Canada was going to beat the Jam on Wednesday. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's the gist of what he was saying. And I got to tell you, he might be right.
a good Mad Oak joke to transition us to humor. So we warned you we're going to go from rapid fire questions.
But by the way, Steph responded to Brad's comment back about you being on the show with like the tear laughing
Just the
emoji.
tear emoji.
That's
laughing
it.
emoji.
So funny.
So they're going to give you grief tomorrow.
Steph
Sorry.
asked about the FIFA tournament too. He's like, I'm ready.
It's
to
happening.
Go. Yeah.
We had this year. We had some staff turnover, for lack of a better way to say it. But beyond that, the breaks and some of the other stuff with the scheduling made it really hard. And having spoken with players, and you weren't here at the time, but with Jordan and a few other folks who'd committed to doing things, there just weren't enough dates to really make it happen.
Having you back in the area
Might
really
change the
re-inspired us to
prioritization.
grind again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Put it this way, I got 3 dates texted to me earlier, and they were like, there are no international matches, Sounders matches, off-season training, CCL, or anything happening on these days. Choose.
So we're looking forward to that. Steph obviously participated last year and brought so many. We had 10 first-teamers, 3 or 4 S2
It was
players,
super fun.
It was.
2 or 3 academy kids,
And that was just the
4 or
Kovar
5
play and Chad Marshall
former-
up top part. That was super fun.
4 or 5 former academy kids.
I mean,
yeah.
nobody came when I was here. Brad was right, huh? Nobody. I said everybody likes me. That was just my ego. Huh?
So we will be in contact with you about that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're gonna re-energize and grind out. 2017 might have been a year off, but I think we're gonna have the 5th one, and the goal will be
We're
bigger
working
and
on
better.
it. Yeah. It's good times.
Yeah, let's
I mean,
do it.
We got Tom as one of the co-presidents of ECS. Obviously, I do the Sounder at Heart thing. We're gonna leverage both of those entities behind the tournament as well. We're not willing. We're very willing to flex that muscle and continue the growth and help you in your goals, particularly in the South Sound. I mean, I don't like it because you're on the West Hill rather than the.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, I knew that was going to come up.
I had to bring it up at some point tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's West Hill and I'm East
It's a
Hill.
little
and so
weird.
There's long rivalry. There's no rivalry. Like I was Kent, man. There's like literally no
But
schools.
then we can
on
have
that
the
side.
Dix argument that it's in the right or wrong neighborhood. So, yeah.
Dix is going to be a lot closer to where you grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you didn't see?
It's basically right where Kent and Des Moines, on the Kent Des Moines Road, right
Yeah.
on essentially the border between the two cities.
Wow.
So imagine the high school,
Yeah.
like if that was there when you were in high
That's gonna
school.
be crazy.
Like,
Yeah. It's gonna
well,
be the
Friday
spot.
night, we're all going to
Yeah.
be ticked.
So, we're running a little hot, but we have some fun questions. You're still good to hang for
Yeah.
a few?
Shoot.
So, we're going to let Adam go first.
No,
You're not going to go first?
John,
no,
go
we're
first.
Gonna do
Yeah,
that one.
we'll do that one first.
Do it.
We'll do this one first.
Biggie or Tupac?
Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac.
He didn't even blink.
West Coast.
That's
Yeah. That's
All right.
Pac's
Good answer.
David?
Are these all like the multiple choice? I get.
They will all
Yeah.
be not multiple
No,
choice.
but
there's only a few multiple
Like, it's
choice.
gonna be easy.
our friend Hugo Garcia is away today, so I'm going to hit his. What is your favorite taco, both type of taco and where you get it?
Oh, Chipotle.
MLS.
And what do you get when you go there?
When I go to Chipotle,
The
brown rice, pinto beans, chicken, double meat, vegetables, pico, a little bit of cheese,
that's like everything.
lettuce,
He knows it.
green
He
salsa.
knows it.
I get the chips. Now I get the queso.
This
They got
is
the large
scripture
queso
to him.
now.
This
large
is-
queso, large bag of chips, and then I gotta get the wife first as well.
I'm kind of. This reminds me of the time I asked
I'm
Brad to
staggered
worry about what you
right
eat.
now.
And he's like,
I'm coming to Chipotle
I
with
got
you.
I got that Chipotle card.
oh.
We heard.
Of course I know.
Good play.
Exactly what it is.
I once asked Brad, "Do you worry about what you eat?" And he goes, "No, man. I burn 5,000 calories a day. I don't have to worry about what I eat."
Right. Yeah.
That Chipotle meal.
For now.
Except when he's
Sounds
talking
yeah.
smack on Twitter,
Yeah.
like today.
That sounds like I'm a professional.
Probably
athlete,
still
and
burn
I will
5,000
burn
calories.
all of
Yeah.
those calories.
I don't have to worry about
Did
that.
Dave
yeah.
ever talk to you about your diet, Tenny?
Yeah, no, they for sure do that. I think I mean, now for sure they're in the academy and stuff like that. That's the main thing. But when I was growing up, it was, maybe get a Subway or something like that, and then that was it. Or McDonald's. Go to McDonald's real quick, get a breakfast, and go to a game. You could eat anything.
We're gonna get the food out the way.
More food questions?
Favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Thin Mints.
Yes.
You didn't hear him, but he actually said Samoas. He actually said Samoas.
No.
See,
No.
it says on the screen. There's
Thin Mints.
Thin Mints.
What?
Tag-alongs? Sorry.
Adam, you got a question?
It's only Thin Mints.
Only.
not now.
Yeah.
Frozen?
No, there's
they
not
don't
enough
last
time.
long enough
Yeah,
to-
there's not enough time to freeze
You don't
them.
do the
Yeah.
stick one box in the freezer, find it in 3 months thing?
No. I would know it's in there.
I do have a
Feel
question.
that it's in there.
It's a take off of one that we've been kind of asking. What are you reading, or what are you listening to? What are you intaking right now that is really
Podcast, books.
Yeah, podcast, books,
music.
Yeah, what is it?
I listen to music. I listen to a lot of country, R&B, older rap, I guess you call it. Not a lot of the stuff right now, other than a couple artists. Chance the Rapper is one. J. Cole, another one. Podcasts. I listen to real estate podcasts.
Real estate podcasts?
Yeah. I listen to those. My cousin actually has a podcast.
Moved to
of his own.
Tacoma? Have you listened to
a couple
that?
years ago. No,
seriously.
Is there one?
Yeah,
That's a real podcast.
It's actually really good.
I mean, it's working.
It's actually really good.
Yeah. I'll have to check that one out. What other things? Oh, reading. Right now, I'm finishing the series of The Dark Tower by Stephen King.
Okay.
When I'm not just going back to Game of Thrones and randomly reading those.
Rereading the... Are you a rereading guy? Do you pick up a
Yeah,
book
I read
and-
Game of Thrones twice. Yeah.
Nice.
But, yeah, so Dark Tower right now, I'm just finishing the last book in that one. What were the other...
Yeah,
that's
That was good.
Yeah, just what are you intaking?
Somewhat related, when the Lamar Neagle movie is filmed,
The rights
who
of
does
Soul.
Joe Roth have play Lamar Neagle?
Oh,
Wow, the Joe Roth
That's
thing
pretty
is
good.
new. That's good.
that's pretty good.
We're using that.
That's pretty good.
Normally we just
Well-
ask who plays so-and-so, but
Yeah.
you kind of know a producer.
Yeah. He's interested in this. I can't legally say anything because it's in the works. No,
Wait, let me go to imdb.com.
yeah.
It's unannounced Joe Roth production.
I don't know. That's tough. I mean, because there's like older I would love for Will Smith to play me. But like it has to be like
That's a good
you
one.
can't do it right now.
Who do you
know?
think that Steve Zakawani should play Eddie Johnson?
Steve said that was Steve. Steve said should play Eddie?
Who should play Eddie Johnson?
Yeah, Steve shouted this
Oh,
from the
man.
background when we had Eddie on.
Off mic.
I don't know. Well, did he have his hair dyed?
He didn't, but that's what it was. Yeah.
That took you one guess. So, last thing that you spent $100 or less on that's like important to you or valuable, and it shouldn't be something like you replaced the floor mats in your car, like something that's actually useful.
That's important too.
It is, but that's not a cool answer.
Tom doesn't value his car like you do.
Tom
Tom doesn't have a car.
Tom gets rides
Tom
from
doesn't
other
value
people.
Beth's car like you do.
High five from the producers.
That's kind of a tough one.
It could be
I don't
Chipotle
buy a lot of
tacos.
stuff. I got the card.
Oh, that's right.
I
You
got
didn't
the
even
card,
pay for
man.
those.
Yeah, I didn't even pay for those. I don't know. We haven't bought that much. Well, I bought my wife some mats that she wanted. So there's a company called Gather that makes like toddler baby mats that are like leather and they're really cool. And she really wanted one, so I ended up getting 2 of them for her.
Which is a great answer.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
When she listens to this
It was
later.
something for her. That's
There you
what
go.
it was.
Exactly.
It was good. Yeah, meant a lot to me.
David?
Well, you read Game of Thrones, so this nerdy question that is
Perfect.
normally mine will be less embarrassing than it's been to people who don't read Game of Thrones. Not necessarily that you played D&D, but if you played D&D or were a Game of Thrones character, what type of character would you be?
What do you mean, like the
Like a
fighting
warrior, the sneaky type,
Dragon.
the wizard,
type?
or when you played Gauntlet?
I mean, when I play those things, it's I usually pick like the warrior or like the paladin. I usually go for that kind
You
of
play some video
righteousness.
games?
Yeah, paladin. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I know what you're talking
he's
about.
the one that when everyone covers Obafemi Martins and Clint Dempsey, he's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to walk up with the ball. I
Yeah,
got
the
this,
sneaky one,
guys.
yeah.
When Oba was here, did you say hello to him? I know he was here for a couple
No,
of
I
weeks.
didn't. No, I mean we were so busy trying to get settled and stuff like that. I was meaning to hit him up, but I never.
Should
I
we
never
yell
got
at
the
Steve
chance.
about that?
Steve said we were signing him, right?
Yeah, Steve is like hanging out with him. All
He
the
said
time.
no rumors.
I did,
No worries, yeah, he did.
I'm back and I haven't even hung out with Steve, and Oba's here for like.
Oh,
a
Steve, you
couple
watching,
days,
man?
and-
Steve did say he was going to watch Elements tonight, but like married,
Yeah,
he might not spend that 90 minutes or so of our time.
yeah.
What do you got,
I
Tom?
understand.
Somehow Brad listened.
Which historical figure would you want to hang out in a bouncy house with?
Oh, all right, here we go.
In a bouncy house with.
Yeah.
And it can't be Brad Evans.
Look, he smiled right at the camera.
The worst answer we've got from that is Abraham Lincoln, because we know that he would burst the bouncy house with all his sharp angles.
That's exactly who I was thinking.
Okay.
As well. Yeah.
Damn.
the worst ever.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
what
you
I
could
like.
just
Bouncy
go
house,
with
yeah.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, I'll go with Abraham.
All
Go
right.
Abe. Honest Abe.
Adam.
I'm going to read the questions because I don't remember them all.
we should, if we were a professional show, we'd all have a version of this in front of us because we ask it every week. But
Yeah, just
Yeah.
slide it around. That's all right.
So what's your favorite song that ECS sings?
Favorite song?
starts with 2.
Yeah, well,
Ends
other
with
than
3.
that whole ego thing again. I like the 253. Chad Marshall's
Yeah.
is hilarious, and it's Chad.
Sing a couple
bars. I mean, that's amazing.
So on that note, so right when he got here and we heard that story about Whitney Houston, I have a record collection that I bought from a 80s DJ from New York City. And I had that album, and I brought it to one of the bars and had everyone sign the liner notes.
yeah,
And then Matt Gashk, former, now at RSL still, right?
Yeah.
Matt
Yeah,
Gashk
I just met up with him.
got Chad over to the rail, and we gave him that in the game. And I have a photo of him, and he's like, what did I get myself into?
We know all.
Is to keep it on the Chad Marshall theme, is he going to be the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year? Do you think he should be on that short list?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. There's no doubt.
Because he's kind of the anchor again. There's some other, everybody in Toronto, but when you have like 3 great
Yeah.
defenders at once, none of them are. Perez from Atlanta's been doing quite well. You've
Yeah.
played against him sometimes, but Chad's in that conversation again somehow.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm biased but I get to see him every single day and actually like see how good he is in that setting. You know, they only get to see him once a week.
When he retires in 10 years, will it be kind of like it's the Landon Donovan MVP? Will it be the Chad Marshall Defensive Player of the Year?
I hope so. He deserves it. I mean, he probably doesn't think he does, but yeah,
I could
Yeah,
talk
I mean,
about
there's-
Chad Marshall on defense for a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
What,
Chad. Go
Yeah.
Chad.
What words or phrases do you overuse?
I think I use as well, like a lot, and sounds good.
Sounds good.
Just like, sounds good.
Yeah.
And then,
Do you use that to like exit a conversation when Dave Clark is trying to ask you questions?
Yeah.
I need to go to the
Sounds good.
locker
Not anymore.
room.
Not anymore.
I think the answer I got from Lamar was most often was something to the effect of, wherever they put me, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of the
Yeah.
if they put me on the field, I'm
The
ready to
shoulder
play.
shrug. Yeah, we're
Like,
right.
Are you going to be a forward, a midfielder? He'd be like, wherever they put me, I'm ready
Yes.
to play.
Yeah.
It was all about effort and going out there and understanding that the opportunities are limited and taking advantage.
So we're running a little
Sorry,
long.
preaching about Lamar
No,
Neagle
man,
right
that's
now.
great.
Just one more thing, and I want to survey the group to see if there's any last minute questions. But is there something that you would like us to have our audience do, either the folks in the room or folks that watch this tonight or later? Is there anything they can do for you or something that you care about? Or, you know, should they meet you at Chipotle?
Chipotle party?
Oh yeah, Chipotle
It could be
party.
whatever.
I'd be down for Chipotle.
No, I think that it's great that we had the conversation a little bit on politics. I think it's something that everybody should like start to get into, and I think that's going to be humorously like one of the greatest things that comes out of all this is that during this presidency, I think there's going to be a lot more people getting involved in the next one in order to make their voices heard even more. So, yeah, just kind of champion something that you really believe in and kind of fight towards that. And honestly, like it's I don't know, but it's our country and we have to make it the way we want it. And so if we just sit here silently, then we're just consenting.
You can follow Lamar on Twitter at Lamar Neagle. You're on Instagram, Lamar Neagle, right?
Yep.
Do you have a like fake Twitter account
My
like
son
KD?
has one.
On the gram?
Huh? On the
Insta-
gram, yeah.
yeah.
He's on the gram. Hudson's News. Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, like the store in the
airport?
The airport.
Yeah.
That's
I couldn't get
awesome.
Hudson News
Okay.
because they got that, but well, he couldn't. I don't. Yeah.
You could ask.
Yeah.
You also
We'll see.
Do you know who I am?
NagleFoundation.com or
Lamar Neagle.
LamarNagleFoundation.com.
Yeah.
Full name.
Yep.
Foundation.com. You can find out more about Lamar. Obviously, you can watch him Wednesday night against a Cascadia rival.
Yeah.
That's a
That
big
whole
deal.
thing again. That's fun. That's fun again.
You're gonna
Like
visit
they're in
with Freddie.
first.
I know.
What's going on with that?
Tomorrow.
How did they get good?
I mean, it was so tight. They came out of nowhere. It felt like, but everybody in the West, the race is so. Yeah, a couple.
There are four
Win a
teams
couple
that can win the
games.
West right now.
Yeah.
Right? It like
Yeah.
you don't write off Kansas City, Portland, Vancouver yourselves. Any of you can claim it.
Easily. Get hot right now. We win.
He is right.
Number one.
He's right. Look at
And then Salt Lake's they're a rather good team as well. Like,
Yeah.
meeting them
They're
in the
okay.
playoffs or I'm sending that one to Gap.
Stop.
right there. Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah. No, they're doing well. They had a rough patch, but they've
We do.
started up as well right now.
Mark's got some stuff.
Mark's got some stuff. SonarFeed is always at the Berliner Pub down on 3rd and Main, downtown Renton.
Ahead of the curve.
There we go. They've been hosting this place for 6 years now. 5 years now. When we end, karaoke starts, which is why you hear that
What
in the background now.
karaoke song is your jam, by the way?
Oh yeah. Guilty blood.
I don't do a lot of karaoke. I sing to myself. My first, when I went to Charleston, that was what we had to do. All the rookies had to do a karaoke, and me and one of the other guys sang "Boys to Men." I think something. I can't remember what. I think it was like "Bended Knee."
Oh,
and we both sang it.
not the one that ends "Boys to Men." Boys to
BBC,
Men.
Baby D.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the end of that song and nothing.
Literally
else
the
to it,
rest
right?
of the room knows it.
So Mark's got some
Mark's got
stuff.
We got some for you.
Oh
From the
man.
a
Yes.
custom mug and T-shirt.
I was just looking at yours, and I was like, man, that's cool. Oh, that's cool.
Now, when you're here for the
Hold it up.
That's cool.
They'll
Lamar
literally
Neagle
put
SonarFeed FIFA
whatever
tournament.
you want in that. Whenever you come back. If you want to
Show the folks at home.
show the folks at home.
Yeah? Check this out.
That is a 1 liter mug.
Official, huh?
You could put 1 liter of Chipotle in there.
It fits a burrito.
Burrito
quite
would
e-
fit.
There you go.
Often people that don't drink get root beer in there.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
do a draft root beer. Like
I'm actually not
fancy
insane,
root
so
beer.
I get water in the liter and beer in a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't
But you
die.
get like 4 beers.
well, duh. You got to keep them cold.
FIFA tournaments in the off season, so I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
There you go. There you
See
go.
what
That's
happens.
what's up.
Thanks for coming
We-
down.
They host
we
FIFA
want-
tournament here. We host. I don't know if you said that. We host FIFA tournament.
Yeah,
here.
the FIFA tournament has
Right,
been
it's-
hosted
it's-
here. We put up extra TV screens all
Yeah.
over the beer hall section, outside. Christian Roldan's first event was while he was still at the UW, and he played a ad hoc foosball that was made with like dowels,
Yeah.
clothespins, and a shoebox with a little 3-year-old boy while he was like
Waiting.
before he was signed or anything
Yeah.
like that. He was just hanging out here because some of the academy kids were like, "Hey, come down to Berliner with us," and he was like, "Okay."
Yeah. I mean, that's Christian.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. So we'll have details on that. Look at
Coming soon.
SonarFeed or anybody that's on the show. We'll let you know because obviously we're going to support the Neagle Foundation again. Thank you very much. Getting 90 minutes of your time when you have a wife and kid
Plus
at home
stoppage.
is amazing. Thanks for your words about the potential for kneeling and what that kind of activity would mean. Most of all, thanks for being a 4-time sounder.
We can say that to like no other people, so
Ever.
let's go with it.
We're going to wrap the show. Next week, it's probably just going to be a bunch of us yapping.
It's gonna be super boring, so y'all better be here.
Yeah, don't. And
Gonna be in Philly.
we're going to let Lamar hang out with the crowd for just a little bit. Don't annoy him because he does have a wife and kids, and he has a game on Wednesday.
That
That's
you may
important.
want him to score against
Casadians.
Freddie Montero and Quinn.
I used to love Freddie, but now I can't. I can't anymore. I can't.
Light it up.
So while we were all chatting, our lovely friend MLS watercolorist,
Who's over there?
who is over here, she's Emily.
He's now embarrassed.
Please wave. But
at that.
she was,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That is
Isn't
awesome.
that great?
That just happened.
It literally was
just
happening
Yeah, that's me.
while we were, yeah.
She once did that during a game. Did like 15 scenes from a game live.
Really?
I won't ask her to do that again because
Her day job is a
I
court
didn't ask
artist.
the first time
No.
either. By the way, you offered, and she was like, "Whoa!"
That's awesome.
So shouts to everybody for being here.
Shout
Shouts to Lamar for being here.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can we
Shouts
get
to
a
the Berliner?
big
for
round of
hosting.
applause?
Oh, by the way, the
Oh, wait.
Berliner Pub has Oktoberfest for 4 more weekends, Friday and Saturday night especially.
Be here.
Each weekend is dedicated to a different German beer. So come
What's
on
that
down.
like?
It's, I mean, if you're into German beer, Oompa bands, come on down. They do it right.
Night, y'all.
Night, y'all.